Mary, this river is quite something. It's like there are two extremes when it comes to river types, the drop-and-pull rivers and the wide ones with continuous whitewater.
Yeah, Tom, it's fascinating. On the drop-and-pull rivers, it's all structured and controlled. We can tackle one drop at a time, and if something goes wrong, we have those pools for safety.
True, and we can set safety ropes along the bank eddies and have chase boats ready. But these wide rivers with consistent whitewater, they're a whole different story.
Look, there are canyon walls here, and few eddies. If we run into trouble on one of these, we're basically on our own.
That's right. Rescue has to happen on the run here. Shore-based systems won't work because they can't reach us in the middle of the current.
So, if something goes wrong, we need to rely on ourselves or fellow boaters in the middle of the river.
Exactly. Safety in numbers is crucial in these conditions. We need to watch out for each other, be prepared for self-rescue, or helping others if needed.
I notice that groups should ideally consist of 3 to 5 boats, and everyone should stay within sight of each other on the river.
And larger groups should split up since they're harder to manage. We also need designated lead and sweep boats to keep things organized.
And we should be quick in retrieving equipment and boats if something goes wrong, right? The longer someone's in the water, the higher the risk.
Absolutely. Exposure to injury, entrapment, hypothermia, and drowning increases with time in the water. We need to act fast.
Communication is vital too, right? Hand signals or even radios?
You got it, Mary. Hand signals are common, and some use radios. When the lead boat signals something, it should be relayed all the way back to the sweep boat.
Well, Tom, I'm glad we're well prepared and have each other's backs. Let's make sure we follow these guidelines and stay safe out here.
Absolutely, Mary. Let's enjoy the adventure, but always keep safety as our top priority. Mary, when it comes to big boats like rafts, catarafts, and dories, safety in big water is all about sticking together in the main current to provide mutual aid.
That's right, Tom. If a boat flips in a rapid, it can take a long time to get to it from a bank eddy, so it's essential to stay together.
Another key principle is that it's usually quicker and easier for an accident victim to come to you by rowing upstream than trying to chase them downriver.
So, weaker boats should stay upstream, which also gives them more time to respond to signals from the lead boat and avoid hazards.
And remember, it's crucial that all boats are properly rigged for flips. Loose lines, including throw bags, must be secured, and sharp edges should be padded. Waterproof and secure all gear, since chasing a flipped raft downstream can be a lengthy process.
Yes, and on the river, boats can either run loose or tight depending on the situation and boatman's preferences. Tight formations offer better mutual support but less reaction time to big hazards.
Right. Now, let's talk about throw bags. They work well when thrown from a raft or the shore, acting as a quick rescue option in moving water. For them to be effective, boats should run fairly close together.
Barry Miller suggests running rafts close together in fast, continuous whitewater. Each raft has a throwing zone around it, and overlapping these zones allows for mutual support without actually touching.
Indeed, all passengers should be trained in throwing, and throw bags should be easily accessible. Some prefer wearing throw bags on their waists for quick tossing.
But isn't there a risk when boats run so closely together? Like a pileup on a strainer?
You've got a point, Mary. It's a valid concern, but in practice, boaters look beyond the one in front, making their route determinations as if that boat weren't there. We don't want tunnel vision while navigating.
Okay, so, what about rescuing swimmers? People do fall out of whitewater crafts.
Right, it happens. A thorough pre-trip safety briefing is crucial, so everyone knows what to do if they end up in the water. Ideally, they should grab onto something on the boat or hang on to their paddle if they're separated.
And they should try to swim towards the raft or stay close to it, especially in those critical first few seconds when the currents haven't moved them too far apart.
When it comes to pulling a swimmer back in, remember not to grab their hands or arms. Instead, hold onto their life jacket's shoulder straps, brace your knees against the tubes, and lean backward while lifting with your legs.
And two people can double up if necessary. There's a debate about whether the swimmer should face the raft or away from it when being pulled in, but both methods seem to work.
Now, if a boat flips, it's often better to right it in mid-river rather than towing it to shore, especially for dories and lightly loaded catarafts, paddle rafts, and/or rigs in big water.
Counting passengers first is crucial in case someone is trapped under the boat. They should immediately check in even if they have to drag themselves out from underneath the raft.
To right the raft, one or more people have to get on top of it, grab the outside tube, shift their weight, and pull it over. It's easier if you have pre-rigged flip lines, but if not, you can use paddle grips, drain holes, or floor laces.
And remember to instruct passengers to let go of the boat before you start pulling to avoid hindering the process. Practice riding the boat in calm water before attempting it in whitewater.
In some cases, it might not be feasible to right the boat, especially if it's too large. In those situations, you might have to tow the boat to shore or even paddle it upside down to safety. It all depends on the circumstances and the boat's size.
Safety and preparedness are paramount on the river, Tom. We've got to be ready for anything out here.
Mary, now let's shift our focus to the smaller boats, like kayaks, canoes, and inflatables. Safety is just as crucial here, and self-rescue skills are paramount.
Absolutely, Tom. For kayakers, having a reliable roll is essential. But for those who can't roll or are in decked boats, getting the victim out of danger while still in their boat is often more manageable than rescuing the boat, paddle, and paddler separately.
Right, similar to the big boats, rescues in continuous rivers must be performed in the current by other boaters.
One common method is the Eskimo rescue. When a paddler flips, they signal for help by slapping the sides of their boat. A fellow boater then presents the bow of their boat to the submerged paddler, who can roll back upright. There's also the Hand of God rescue, where the rescuer reaches across the upside-down boat, grabs the cockpit rim, and rolls it back up.
These methods have their limitations, though. The upside-down boater may float into a hazard or a more dangerous rapid, and there's a risk of the rescue boat ramming into the upside-down paddler's hands.
That's right, Tom. Typically, these methods are best used in low-risk areas, like the deep water tail waves below a rapid or the eddy just below a hole.
Now, what about rescuing boaters from hydraulics, like small ones? I understand it can be quite challenging.
It can be, Tom. In small hydraulics, a paddler in the rescue boat may stick their bow into the backwash for the stuck paddler to grab onto. In larger hydraulics, the rescuer might approach from upstream with maximum momentum and drop in sideways onto the stuck boat, hopefully knocking it clear of the backwash. But these techniques require a brave rescuer willing to enter the dangerous hydraulics.
That does sound risky. Are there other methods for rescuing swimmers with small boats?
Indeed, Tom. The most common method is having swimmers grab onto the bow or stern grab loop of the boat or a painter and towing them to safety with an upstream ferry. However, it's crucial to approach swimmers with caution, as they might act irrationally in a life-threatening situation.
So, it's essential to maintain a safe distance from the swimmer and get their attention before attempting a rescue.
Exactly, Tom. And if the swimmer needs to be towed a distance, using a stern hold makes it easier. But it's also crucial to instruct the swimmer not to climb onto the boat.
Are there any special precautions for rescues in big waves?
In big waves, the boat's violent up and down movement can easily dislodge a swimmer, even if they're holding onto the grab loop. So, in such conditions, it might be better to approach the swimmer in calmer waters. Having someone on the back deck of a kayak can be a helpful technique, but it makes the boat heavy and unstable.
What about unconscious or semi-conscious victims? How do small boats handle such rescues?
Those situations are challenging, Tom. Pulling an unconscious swimmer into a small boat is very difficult. Tow systems, like those mounted on rescue PFDs, can be used, but they pose risks to the rescuer. In some cases, the rescuer might have to exit their craft, contact the victim, and be towed in by other boats or perform a swimming rescue, which increases the danger.
It sounds like rescues in small boats can be quite complex, Mary.
Yes, Tom, they can be. It's essential for paddlers to train and be prepared for various rescue scenarios to ensure everyone's safety on the river.
Absolutely, Mary. Safety should always be the top priority.